What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. I am Christian Pedersen. Welcome to the playoffs. Over here on the left, Bodie DeSilva has returned. Glad to report he is alive. Bodie, we had some Point Loma parents that were ready to put out an Amber Alert, thinking you had been kidnapped. In the middle, that's the top half. Speaking of Point Loma, of the Point Loma propaganda minister's head, whatever I'm trying to say. It's a dog. On the right, it's dark. We've got 90 miles to go till Chicago.
You guys are my favorite.
Yeah, it's Dave Ring.
You guys.
Dave Ring and his Dave Ring. The undefeatedness remains. Also, your alma mater is moving on to the next round. Look, we've got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So we're gonna do all the playoff brackets. I'm gonna keep feeding my kids snacks. We're gonna try and get it all done in 20 minutes. If you don't want lower divisions, skip forward a couple minutes. We will do at the end. We'll close out with any other dingers and anything like that we have. Guys, let's just jump straight into it with D5AA. The Rock Academy is the 1 seed. They are all of the games that we are talking about are going to be happening Friday or Saturday. I will do my best to say Friday or Saturday, but just look on the brackets if you're trying to keep all this straight. Rock Academy, they move on through the first game. It's them, Liberty Charter, Vincent Memorial, and Borrego Springs. I feel like this, after everything I have seen through the first couple of rounds, is still Rock Academy Borrego, is where we are headed. Your thoughts from any of you on 5AA?
No, I'd agree. Having seen Borrego earlier this year, I was impressed, and now they're going to get a rematch against Vincent Memorial, and they have certainly seen each other a bunch of times this year, including that game at Petco Park.
Dave, any 5AA thoughts?
No, I just love to see the competition out there. Let's go.
Yeah, and Bodie, that could count maybe in aggregate as a season series if it's a best of 3 or 5 at some point. On to Division 5, we've got Pacific Ridge pulling off the biggest upset yet, I think, of any of the divisions, and with a 9 beating number 1 Coastal Academy. That's a huge win. Always love an underdog, but you never know how long that underdog story is going to last. Like, are they about to fall off and run out of pitching? Or is this a real deal kind of team? So definitely invested in what they are doing. High Tech High San Diego, I think, benefits immensely from that because now they are the 4 that gets to play the 9 in the winners bracket. So maybe they become one of the favorites. Crawford, Castle Park, High Tech High Chula. There is a chance for 2 High Techs to play in this one, but to me, the story of D5 so far is Pacific Ridge. Bodie, Dave, anything from you guys?
Yeah, no, I think what you just said, my key for playoff time every year in baseball is win your first game and win your second game. Skip out on that weekend, enjoy the days off, reset your pitching, and you got a great shot from there.
Yeah, Cal Chivers at Pacific Ridge, catcher shortstop. Dude hits bombs. He's got 5 bombs on the year.
Tanks, Swamp Donkeys.
You know me on the Swamp Donks. Love them.
Swamp-a-donk-a-donk. All right, Division 4. This was one that Bodie felt like he was going to say is the biggest upset, but it numerically is 1 seed less of an upset. That's Lincoln, though. Taking down Otay Ranch. The number 8 Lincoln team takes down number 1 seeded Otay Ranch to move on to their next round of games, and they take on a Hilltop team that at the 5 also technically got an upset, so a lot of chaos through the top half of the Division 4 bracket. Bottom half, Palo Verde Valley is in control on their game, and Ramona is in control on their game, so it's a little bit more chalk. I'm curious, do you guys see this as that Palo Verde Ramona side because it's chalk is going to be where the winner or the finalists come from, or do we have somebody in that Lincoln and Hilltop combo that could be making themselves a sweet little Cinderella run?
Yeah, I definitely like where Ramona's at now, the way it's set up for them. I think they're a talented team that has been tested in a league with made up of teams in higher divisions. That's always something I look for. Very surprised to see that Ramona's down in Division 4. I don't think that will last for future years. But, yeah, like what you said, Lincoln has played really clean baseball, a 3-0 win in the play-in game, and then to go to Otay and win 3-2, escape with that one, tells me this Lincoln team is playing really clean baseball at the right time of year. So they've got their work cut out with Hilltop, but if they can take down Otay, no reason they can't take down Hilltop.
Bodie, just remember, at any point, if you ever see a team misdivisioned or categorized, it's because they have an association with Team McCossie, and CIF is specifically legislating to screw them over. Dave, your thought on D4?
Well, like Bodie said, I mean, I really like Ramona coming out of here. We talked about them earlier.
They hit a ton.
Yeah. They got guys in the middle of the lineup that know how to drive runners in. I mean, bottom line, there's just some clutch bats in that middle. They're sophomores. They are young, but we did mention, hey, this team is going to be a team pretty much set for the next couple of years in the middle of their lineup. And right now, these guys are doing the damage. Derek Taylor, man, they're lights out when runners in scoring position. It's fun to watch right now.
Better than the Padres on that.
That's why I wore my jersey today. Hopefully, bring some mojo.
Mojo and JoJo. All right, on to Division 3. Excluding the Granite Hills storyline of historic everything, players and team performances, I think that Division 3 is the one that I am most fascinated and interested by right now, because this is where you have that sort of convergence of like the teams are all still evenly matched, but you do have some that have some dogs on it, like Christian Garcia and Claremont. Like, that's a really loaded team. Calexico's really good. So right now, Calexico, the 1, is taking on Mission Bay, the 4. That side, much more chalky, but Vista and Escondido are both, I think, still dangerous in that losers bracket. On the bottom, you have Claremont and University City are going to square off. Both of those teams could very conceivably be champions based off of how they played.
Do you want to know what that game is called? The Battle of the 52.
I love that. Is that actually a thing?
No, I just made it up.
Even better.
You know how they had like the Vetter Cup this weekend?
Yeah, you're right. If MLB is able to just arbitrarily
I'm just going to bring up, this is the Battle of the 52. I think this is one of the coolest games, like you said, of this matchup.
Well, and to have it be matched up where you have Tennessee and Louisville commits on one side and USD commits on the other side, like at a D3 game.
Yeah.
If you had a D3, and I know that this isn't a playoff thing, I take a detour every now and then, but if you had a D3 football game here in San Diego and you had those same school commits, you'd be like, whoa, this is super different.
And
like,
all
this
these
is
guys,
not what we have every year.
All these guys grown up together. They all play travel ball together in the off season. Practically, I mean, buddies when they're not playing baseball. So this is going to be one of those rivalry / competitive games where you're just trying to kick the crap out of your buddy, and
put it on the poll. Is there a better feeling than kicking the crap out of your buddy in the playoffs? Bodie, did we get your thoughts on D3?
Yeah, I think, like what you said, I'm looking at Claremont, University City. I really think the winner of this game tomorrow on Friday is got a great shot to take the whole thing. Both came away with impressive 1-run victories in these last ones against teams they're familiar with.
Both walk-offs.
Yeah. And on the other side, Calexico, they've shown they're dangerous. I did not expect them to have a double-digit win over Vista. So I think this is one where we may just see the top seeds advance and set up where it's a 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3 in the championship.
When it comes down to it, it's going to be who plays the least amount of sloppy baseball. And, if from what I've seen with a couple of these teams, they're going to have to clean it up on defense and make sure that they're not giving away sloppy runs, because during a lot of these games, this is what's it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to earn runs, turning, a game into either, the momentum shifting or something like that. I feel like that's what it's going to come down to, which team can play the best defense. We know the pitching is going to be there, but
and on some of these
defense
you're
is going to play.
Teams that are now playing 3, 4, 5 games in a 7 or 8 day span.
Exactly.
And that can be, just like you're saying, mentally hard to lock in and play. If you're used to playing 2 or 3 games a week and now you're playing 3 or 4 big playoff games a week, it can be hard to mentally stay like, hey, we're going to be dialed in on every single inning all the time. That's just, it's hard to run that hot. On to Division 2. Coronado, the 1 seed, is moving on. They are going to be taking on Mount Carmel, the 5 seed, technically an upset there over Southwest El Centro. Congratulations to them. Bottom half of that bracket is Mission Hills, Southwest El Centro. On the other side, San Pasqual. Kind of an interesting upset to see them beating El Camino. They get a big hit from one of their freshmen to hit a home run there. And San Ysidro, past Madison. San Ysidro is the Cinderella This is another one. We got chalk on the top half, more or less, and then a little bit of upsets on the bottom. San Ysidro, the 7 seed, they beat the 2 seed Madison. So
that's a big win.
That's a big win. So San Pasqual, San Ysidro is kind of an unexpected result to be in the winners bracket there. Coronado, Mount Carmel is a less unexpected result. Let's start with you, Dave Ring. Your thoughts on Division 2?
Yeah, I mean, I really have liked Coronado all season. They're a tough team, and you can't, really count out Mount Carmel. They're built. They have a strength of schedule, and ultimately, I think in this bracket here, we've got on the other side the Southwest EC boys. That's what you're saying, right? This is the D2 bracket we're talking about. Yep. Yeah, the Southwest EC boys. No one really knows about these guys in San Diego.
That's not fair. I've been voting them top 10 all season.
But we on the show have given some guys some love. They have some extremely good players out there. JJ Niebla, the Niebla boys, who's famous coach, pitching coach over at the Padres there. They're all related to him.
They're also just a team that won over 20 games. And at some point, even regardless of the competition you're playing, I like teams that just win a ton.
So I got to give them credit, and I do like, those are the 3 teams I'm going to go with, I think, in this bracket to make a run.
Well, and this one's crazy because Coronado, Mount Carmel, Southwest El Centro, and Madison and El Camino have all received top 10 votes at some point this season. So really good teams. Bodie, your thoughts?
Yeah, what sticks out to me in this bracket, and I think that's often the case in Division 2, you have a lot of teams that played in leagues full of Division 1 teams. So they're all tested. Yeah. I think you can kind of throw out what the seedings are more and more because these teams have seen some of the best pitchers, some of the best hitters throughout the year. And because of that, I think it's kind of led to the upsets. Obviously, Coronado played a clean game, but Mount Carmel going on the road and putting up 18 runs after having to get through the first round a day before that, and San Pasqual going in and getting 3 runs off St. Norquist. I mean, just things like that are showing what these teams have prepped against all year to get to
Madison's going to be really tough coming out of that losers bracket there. I mean, their pitching's really good. I assume that their bats will come alive, and this is an interesting bracket.
D3, 2, 1 open. It starts escalating where you talk less stressfully about if we're in the losers bracket, it's really like we're on a razor's edge, and you start to talk about it's certainly harder to win out of that losers or consolation bracket or whatever politically we have to call it these days. But with some of these teams, you're just like, hey, Madison's got bats galore. They've got a guy or two who can go out there, give them a couple innings on a rebound start.
Ochoa, Jennings. I mean, they'll pitch for sure.
All right, let's talk D1. Rancho Bernardo, they are the 1 seed. They get it done against Bonita Vista. They are moving on. Torrey Pines, 1-0.
Yeah, walk off there.
Wow.
You bastards. Beating my beloved Sage Creek. Don't worry, Sage Creek is still number 1 in my heart and number 1 on the board. The Sage Creek will win the state championship. It's all good. But no, Torrey Pines and RB. If that was the championship game,
which it was last year in the Open.
I was going to say we have evidence that's a good championship game.
And now it's a D1 quarter
and now
the next year.
D1 quarterfinals. Yeah. On the other half of the bracket, La Jolla Country Day. And I know Bodie was just saying on the other division, this is where you kind of start to throw out some of the seeds, but Country Day, a 6 seed that pulls off the upset against a number 3 Point Loma team that I have been very big on all year. On the other half of that one, Cathedral Catholic gets it done against SFC. All of these games, with the exception of the RB win, very, very close. So really, it just feels razor thin here. We've got now, though, Torrey Pines and RB, like we said, Bonita Vista, Sage Creek. Then on the other half of the bracket, Country Day and Cathedral Catholic are playing, and Point Loma SFC are going to play. I think that of all of this, obviously RB dominating the way they did makes me think that, okay, RB's probably still RB versus the field right now, but I really like the Country Day thing. Because they have guys that can hit for extreme power, like they have a lot of pop in that lineup. I love where they're positioned, that like Bodie said, get those wins, skip the weekend. If Country Day gets the win tomorrow against Cathedral, I put them as my favorite to win this one. But let's hear from you guys. Bodie, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think what's impressive with Country Day yesterday, their win at Point Loma, it was 2-1 after the first inning, and then to shut them out the rest of the way, those final 6 innings. I think as you said, La Jolla Country if they're going to pull this off, I think they have to win tomorrow and reset over the weekend, and possibly a revenge game here. Remember, a couple of their star freshmen from last year at La Jolla Country Day have transferred. They're now at Cathedral. Some of those guys at Country Day may be thinking, what'd you need to transfer for? We're here playing in the same division. We're playing each other in the quarterfinals. So might be some of that on their mind here. And impressive what they've done. Had to win Tuesday, went again and won on Wednesday, and we'll see what they can do on Friday. But yeah, like what you said, it's Rancho Bernardo until they lose a game in this one. I think they're a pretty big favorite.
This is, again, another reference that we only make just for ourselves, and we apologize for everybody for our becoming Adam Paul and our references becoming increasingly dated. But I love Country Day in the playoffs based off of one of the very first playoff games I ever saw was Country Day beating Mickey Moniak and LCC in the playoffs. And I know that whole squad is probably graduated from college now and are just adults. But a school that has the same coaching staff there, though, and has that mentality to walk into any game being ready. Dave, your thoughts on D1?
Yeah, this is a tough bracket. I mean, I'd really love to watch these guys compete here. In my opinion, Cathedral's primed to take this side of the bracket. Point Loma's had some tough losses, and they're just beat up right now. They've really just haven't really performed at the end of the season here in terms of wins and losses, and I think that showed there at the end of the season here. But I do think Cathedral's poised to kind of they whooped on Point Loma a couple times. I think you're going to see that there's a little disparity between them if their pitchers can actually throw strikes and give their hitters a chance to get up every inning. The pitching's been different than this year for them. I think last year that Cathedral relied on a lot of really good innings out of their starters, and this year they've had to just kind of go everywhere with guys. But I do see them as my favorite on this side. And like you said, Rancho Bernardo, Torrey, I haven't seen the best out of Torrey, but in this playoff scenario, this win 2 out of 3 games. I mean, they've got Jack Schwamberg, they've got Brody Martin, they've got other guys that are really hard to hit in a high-pressure game. And I don't know. I think even though I didn't really put them in my top 10, I'm going to take Torrey here at this side of the bracket, because I just see guys throwing chairs in these next couple of games, and typically they come up with some good hits, and disappointing regular season for them, but I think it's their time to shine, and we talked about that last time. They're ready to go, man.
Love it. Ready to go is as good of a compliment as you can give in the playoffs, because it's down to one game sample sizes really largely at this point. Open division, Granite Hills and their undefeatedness, as Dave calls it, is they are still going. They get a dramatic win against the Rooster and Del Norte. Saints beats Carlsbad in a dramatically close game as well. So that's going to be Granite Hills Saints in the winners of that. Del Norte Carlsbad and the losers of that. On the bottom half, Patrick Henry pulls off the upset over LCC. San Marcos beats Eastlake. So right now, winners sides, you got Granite and Saints, Patrick Henry, San Marcos. Losers sides, you got Del Norte Carlsbad, LCC, and Eastlake. Obviously, of any of the brackets that we're going to talk about, this is the most anybody could still win it kind of vibes, just because it's open and it's deep and it's whatever. But Granite Hills at this point is the team of destiny. Like, they get this dramatic come from behind, score a bunch of runs late to remain undefeated game. So I'm just curious, Granite versus the field is still kind of my question. Your thoughts, Bodie?
Yeah, I would agree there. St. Augustine has all the talent needed to beat them. But Saints did throw Grayson Bowles in their opener against Carlsbad. They needed him. He went complete game there. So what are they going to do in that second round? Now, Granite Hills used Brendan Lewis. He didn't have his best, but of course, when the time needed, he came up with a game-tying home run in the seventh inning, as you would expect from him.
Brendan Lewis is best as everyone else.
So they'll see Luke Bailey probably.
Yeah, so I would expect that's the case. And Saints has the hitters to get it done. It's just capability of can they do it. I've talked about this in the past. The last 7 Open Division winners have been Torrey Pines, La Costa Canyon, and Eastlake. at least so far, it looks like we'll have a new team break through there. But can Granite be that team? Can Saints be that team? Saints has not been strong in playoffs in recent years, and Granite has come up just short a couple times. So we'll see. This is a really, really good second round matchup. Before the year, this is my number 1 and number 3 preseason. So to have this as an open division quarterfinal is a lot of fun.
You're saying that Saints should have gone the different route, gone winless during the regular season, and then.
Hey, they challenge themselves, and maybe their best baseball's here.
Well, on that other side of the bracket, I got to give credit to Del Norte. They played their absolute hearts out against Granite, and really a team that I didn't look past. It just didn't have in my top 10. The way they played in league to finish the year was absolutely incredible and propelled them into an open division berth. Think about the teams that didn't make open division. Cathedral, RB were kicked out of open division because of basically a Del Norte. And I think on that side of the bracket, Del Norte plays who again, Bodie?
Carlsbad.
Yeah, Del Norte, Carlsbad.
I think that's going to be a really, really fun game to watch. I think Del Norte has got a chance to kind of, get a win, get some momentum here, despite the fact that Carlsbad is a solid team. I think Del Norte is just one of those squads right now where they're not going to take this too bad, and they've been playing a lot of tough games. They're going to come back with a really fierce win here against Carlsbad, in my opinion.
And a rarity here, Del Norte, this is their first ever appearance in the Open Division Baseball playoffs. So adding a new team to the mix.
What's the rarity? Is just the rarity for them, or rarity to having a new
rarity
team?
Having a new team. We're 10 years into it, and we kind of have the main group of 10 to 12 that makes it every year. And Del Norte, it's a first for them.
That's a huge thing.
Very impressive.
Yeah, that's great for them. I love it for them. I think that all the diversity that we can have, and I know that it's just an old wooden ship, but as much old wooden ships as we can have in our open division is great, because
they created a culture over there that it's a winning culture.
And the subtext of Bodie, what Bodie was saying was all of those teams that have the limited number that have won all of the open divisions.
Yeah.
Granite is also the loser in so many of those.
Yeah,
so
they really won 2014, and since then it's been not much.
But Granite, I'm saying, has been in what, 3 of those, has been the loser of 3 of those open division games.
Let's
I think.
See.
I don't need the specifics of it, but
yeah,
I'm just
they're
saying,
1 and 2 in championships.
Yeah, so that's like I'm saying that even the losses have been insular to a smaller community. That really the open division permutations have only been like 6 schools have even made the baseball open division. So just getting fresh blood in there is awesome. All right, that's all of the brackets.
How did you find that information so quick, dude? He was like, boom, 1 and 2, boom. Did you see that, dude?
I got a whole spreadsheet, color coordinated all that.
There's one of 2 possibilities here. Either Bodie is stats and information,
is
like
that what
we've
I
always
see over
applauded
there?
him, or there's nothing on that computer screen. Bodie's been making it up this entire time.
AI spreadsheet over there. That's equipped
Bodie's not even real. Bodie's been AI generated this whole time.
Equipped to answer any CIF question of all time.
Okay, I always we skipped over largely the specifics of like game balls and home runs and all that kind of stuff. So before we get out of here, floor's open to any of that you guys want to get through before we say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, I got a few things real quick. San Marcos, they beat Eastlake yesterday. Dude, the vibe at that game. Brody Lane, he had a 5-out save. Dude is electric on the mound. He throws like a 3/4 fastball slider mix. He looked so nasty. Got to give him a game ball. Claremont, yes, Brendan Weiss, this guy bunted to walk it off. Overthrow, run scored. Listen, Brendan Weiss for Claremont has done it all. 391, 34 hits. 14 of those have been extra base hits, as well as Bo Osland on the Chieftains. He had 33 RBIs this year. And like Christian said, the guy who walked it off for Torrey Pines, Vince Moore, got that hit against Sage Creek. He's been a very, very pleasant surprise for them. Transferred out of La Jolla Country Day in the middle of the season. Got a starting role. Has been really fun to watch and has contributed immensely to their program here this year. So congrats to you, man. And just last few dingers, and I'm out, man. Evan Hall hit one for San Marcos. He's got 5 on the year. Colton Walker led off the first inning with a homer against Eastlake. So those 2 guys were a big reason they won. And a couple 2028s I want to vibe with here. Joel Vargas out of Eastlake. Dude hits the ball. He hits moonshots for home runs. No line drives, just freaking rainmakers. And this guy out of Bonita Vista that I hadn't heard about, 2028, Kenson Johnson. I mean, dude has a freaking nasty swing. He hit a home run yesterday, I think it was, against Bonita Vista. Shortstop. This guy's looking 5-tool already, and he can throw on the mound. I don't know. I was really impressed with what I saw out of him. And listen, Arijah Shutska, he's over at Granite. He was the dude that hit the 7th inning walk-off home run to beat Del Norte. I mean, what a moment, what a career moment for you. Congrats on the home run, man. I didn't see any twirls around the bases. I saw just a guy happy to help his team, and man, humble experience, man. Enjoy it, and hope you guys stay rolling.
Bodie?
Yeah, a couple playoff shout-outs. First, Taylor Worth from Coronado. Complete game shutout in their win over Mission Hills. Did it on 74 pitches, too. 7 strikeouts, allowed 3 singles, so impressive stuff there. And then at La Jolla Country Day, Elias Hanley, freshman on the mound. Complete game, 2-hit shutout. To go beat Point Loma on the road, another good one there. And then for Mount Carmel, we talked about how they put up 18 runs, 2 home runs and 6 runs driven in by senior Bryce Miller, big 4-for-5 day there. So doing it really, guys on the mound stepping up when their teams needed it. And then Mount Carmel, 18 runs on 19 hits, going out to the desert and getting a big win.
That's a big, big win. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in for the playoff edition. We'll be back next week with the finals. And then 1 week after that with our fantasy draft, where I'm assuming the first pick overall will be Liam O'Day, just so that Dave can not risk any of us stealing him.
Team Swamp Donkey is back.
All right, folks. Talk to you guys later.